Okay, let's start.
All right.
hmm
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Double Cross Anime podcast. Sorry about the abrupt start to the last episode. We had some issues with the audio, but we've worked those out, so we're good to go this time. You ready, Mario?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, what are our plans for this episode?
So, for this episodes, we're gonna talk about the first three episodes of Kokkoku, Junji Collections, Violet Evergarden, After the Rain, and the first two episodes of Ergo Proxies.
Right. So, most of those are Winter 2018 anime, and then we're throwing in Ergo Proxy for flavor, I guess, for like diversity.
hmm
So, which show should we talk about first?
It's up to you.
It's up to me. Okay.
Alright.
Let's do Kokkoku because that's at the top of my notes, and also I think it's probably the show I enjoy the most,
Alright.
at least out of the 4 winter ones. So if we're doing the first 3 episodes of Kokkoku, I guess the thing that makes it so interesting to me is that not everything has been explained yet. The element of mystery to the show.
Yep, that's
And
right.
I really like the fact that or not the first part of the first episode, but most of these 3 episodes have all taken place in the same like moment
Frame. Yeah.
in time. Yeah,
Mhm.
frame exactly, because they kind of describe it that way in episode 2, I think. Like
Mhm.
the space-time continuum is just a reel of film, and they're in one frame right now.
Right.
What are your thoughts
Wh-
on these episodes?
Well, what I think about Kokkoku in general is how they at the moment how they just like breaking and bending the rules, their old rules. So like at first you will see you see like they have like a very normal days, normal situations
Hmm.
until like one like two members of the family got kidnapped
Right.
and
The
and
the neat brother and the grandson,
yeah.
I guess.
Yep. And then we move on to, like a supernatural part. So like they stop the time. They come to
Yep.
rescue the guys. And then they break in the rules again. So we have like other people who could come into that frame who like try to kidnap them again.
Right.
And then we have like the handlers, what they say, the guy
Yeah.
who protect on the statics people,
Yes.
and then we have like the grandfather and the main character, her name is Churi, I think,
Yes, that's right.
have a special abilities.
Yeah, we found that out in episode 3, I guess, that she can expel the jellyfish or the what
Yep.
was the other name for the jellyfish?
Uh,
Um,
I have no idea. I
oh,
couldn't
a
jellyfish.
specter.
Oh, specters.
Specter. They also called them specters. Yeah, she can like expel them from people's bodies.
Yeah. And so like the whole first three episodes was like the show just tried to breaking every rules that they have, and because they don't have any set rules yet, so we just kind of don't know what to expect.
Right.
We don't
Yeah,
know
I
what happened next.
exactly. I think that's why I like it so much,
Yeah.
because a lot of anime series are kind of copies of stuff that's come before. You got the rom-coms
Mhm.
that are all spin-offs from like Toradora, or the mecha series that are all just Evangelion but watered down versions of it.
Yeah.
But with this show, I don't really know what's going to happen in the next episode, or even the next like minute
Yeah.
of an episode that I'm watching. So I
So
appreciate that.
yeah, so for now, I think on those work for Kokuku benefits, but
Yes.
I, I'm just afraid that to try to break in the rules every time will make us like off balance. We will make the show off balance.
Right. I know what
So
you mean.
yeah, so I just hope that like they know what they're doing. Be-
Me too.
because there is another girl, another main characters who
Yes,
we don't know.
Majima.
Yeah, Majima, you say.
Yeah,
So
Majima is her name.
we don't know what her role is in everything.
Well, we do know in episode 2, I think we saw a flashback of hers where there were
Yeah.
2 women. It was like her as a little girl with her dog, and then you saw an
I
older woman.
I expect the other girl is Churi's.
Yes. Yeah,
When-
because in episode 3, Juri seems to recognize Majima,
Yeah, yeah.
and they flash back again to what I think was that same scene.
So I think that scenes will be important to the series.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of indicates to me that they're like showing you that, teasing that little bit of information. It indicates to me that there is, a game plan that the show
Mhm.
intends to follow. So I am optimistic at this point that it won't go to, it won't become complete garbage. That makes no
Alright.
sense.
So how I enjoy the show so far, I like most of things that I watch. I don't like the cult group though.
The who?
The group, the
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, the Genuine Love Society, I think they're called.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't like the way they do things, but
Oh yeah, me neither. It's evil.
yeah. Well, it just too simple. I think. I don't
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
You mean in terms of storytelling, it's a little too simple, or you just find what they do
It-
like morally wrong?
in term of storytelling, I think. I mean,
Okay. I see. So how do you let's to talk more specifically about that? What do you
Yep.
how do you feel about the way that they're testing the herald or the handler as the grandfather calls it? Like the way that they test it and figure out why it's growing smaller, and he even like after it disappears in episode 3, he even licks his hand and he says it tastes like protein.
so how I think about that? You say, you
Yeah,
mean?
like yeah, what do you think that the show is exploring that concept in an interesting way, or is it like because that's one thing that the cult is doing.
Well,
So is that working for you or not?
they when they try to get a guy who do the killing, so that he would get killed by the handlers.
Exactly.
That cruel. That just like way too obvious. But like what they draw or the things that they draw from that was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm interested in the way that the leader of
Mhm.
the Genuine Love Society, I think his name is Sagawa. He's the
Mhm.
one with like the kind of narrow eyes. He
Yep.
seems very stoic, very like calm.
Hmm.
I'm interested in the way that he kind of like scientifically went about trying to figure out what exactly the Herald is.
Yeah. What do you think about the handler is?
What do
Yeah.
I think it is? I
Yeah.
have no idea.
I
The grandfather in episode 1, as he and Juri are like walking through the city and time is frozen,
Yep.
he says that people who mess around in the stasis end up
Mhm.
like disappearing or dying, and they turn into handlers.
That's right.
So I don't. Maybe
Oh,
the
and
handler
one-
is like a collection of souls, and in order to kill, like the price the handler has to pay for killing is giving up one
Yeah.
of its own souls in exchange.
Yeah, but one more thing that we get is like when the handlers kill the people, the jellyfish, the specters, come to other people, other
Yes.
statics.
Now I wonder
And
if that's. Go ahead.
Yeah, it for now it just seems too random for me that the two statics that the two specters that they come to is the brother and the niece and the niece. Yep.
Nephew.
So-
I think it's a boy
nephew.
actually.
Oh, it's a boy. Yes, a nephew.
Yeah.
So I think for now they just too randomly,
I actually don't think it's random because doesn't the grandfather explain to Juri that like the handlers are their ancestors and they protect their family specifically?
Uh-huh.
So I don't think it's a coincidence. I think
Or-
that because their family has this connection to the handlers and they have these supernatural abilities, I think that those jellyfish things are like drawn to
Their bodies.
their family. Yeah, their bodies specifically because they're part of a certain bloodline.
All right, it makes sense. Mm-hmm.
And I think that the key to this show, and this is a theory that my brother had, because we've been talking about this show as well. I think that the key to this show
Sure.
might be the nephew, the little kid, Makoto,
How comes?
because they don't know who his father is.
Oh, right.
And there's this specific moment. Again, it's part of the big info dumps that are happening between the grandfather and Juri.
Uh-huh.
They've been happening over the course of like these 3 episodes, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's a moment where he says he feared that the handlers weren't protecting their bloodline anymore, but for some reason it showed up and protected Makoto. So I feel like his parentage, his father specifically, since his mother had him out of wedlock and nobody knows who the father is. I feel like his father may belong to a different bloodline, and like that's going to be one of the core mysteries of the series.
Wow.
So I'm just putting that on the record.
Yeah.
That I think that's significant.
Wow.
It wasn't my idea originally. How do you think that's likely, or do you think that's like completely foolish?
No, that makes sense to me. So I think this is likely to be, like one of the plot thread in the future.
I hope so. Because that would make me seem really smart.
Way to go, guys.
Yeah, even if it wasn't my idea.
Well.
What other things about these 3 episodes do you want to bring up?
Well, I like the opening.
Oh,
which is
yeah,
one of my favorite at this seasons.
Yeah, me too. Do you have any other favorite openings this season? Like what other ones would you say are really good?
After the Rain is pretty good as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Itou Junji is alright. I think I like it.
I do too. That was the last show that I had to watch, and I did like the OP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You were gonna say something else. You said Itou Junji's is good, but
but it's not the material that I will remember, for months to come. But it's still pretty serviceable.
Yeah, I think it fits the show.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Yep.
They couldn't go full classical with the Itou Junji OP. Like they couldn't, and by classical I don't mean a big orchestra. I mean they couldn't. They had to make it modern, because it's an electric guitar piece.
Well, horror, it had to be rock. Come on.
Right. Well, I feel like
it has to be metal.
That's kind of what it was. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like they wanted to modernize it, and I think that they did a good job with that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I mean, speaking of those other shows, do you want to move on to a different one?
All right. So what time have we got now?
What time are we at?
15. All right. Let's move on to
We're
other
a little
shows.
less than 15 minutes in. Yeah, I think we can. So, do you want to let's save Ergo Proxy for last.
All right.
Do you want to do Violet Evergarden, Junji Ito, or whatever the other one is?
Yep. Let's do Junji Itou Collections.
Okay. All right. What are your thoughts?
It's kind of mixed bag for now for me.
Okay.
All right. So the thing about the collection. So I watched the 3 episodes. I watched the latest episode as well, and I read some of the manga chapters. So I kind of know what I kind of have have an idea what the guys doing with his stories. So his story so far is like what I call the psychological body horrors.
Yeah.
So it starts with the on the paranoia, on the fear that we have, that the primal fear that we usually have.
Yeah, things that look different.
Yeah, like you can't get out of your sleep. You when up your the part of your body goes wrong, they go out of your control. So that's all of the fear that we usually have.
Yes.
and then he turned it into like a full body horrors, which um I kind of have a mixed bag about that. So like
Okay.
his work is more about it's more fear. It's more about like mm, um how it's more about the idea.
Are you saying that
So
his the manga chapters are more about the idea or
the
the
manga
show?
chapters, the
Okay.
show as well, like
Yeah.
all the stories is more about the ideas, the
Yeah, it's more about the
atmosphere.
concepts.
Yeah, than any meaning, many deeper meaning. So I think
Right.
that's quite beautiful because some of the story can have like true meaning if you want to explore about it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So you just wish that the show it was using this body horror as a way to speak more deeply on like why we're afraid of things or
That's
particular
right. Yep.
issues. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I agree with that.
So what is your favorite story so far?
That's
Out
a
of the three
great
episodes that we watch?
that is a great question. I actually wrote down the names of all 6 stories so far so I would be able to,
All right.
like reflect back on them and pick my favorites. Although I haven't done that yet. So let me
I don't
think
have
here.
any yet.
I think that the Eternal Dream episode was actually my favorite.
That's my favorite as well. But I have issue on that as well.
What else? Oh, you have
But
an
tell
issue with it as well?
Yeah, I have an issue with it. But tell me how you like it.
I mean, like you said, it was the series so far and that episode in particular are very like heavy on ideas and concepts,
Hmm.
and then they kind of just end. They a lot of them just fizzle out
That
because
is
it is an
exactly right.
anthology series. Yeah. So the reason that I liked Eternal Dream so much is just because of the idea. I mean, the idea that your dreams would last a year, 2 years, 10 years, 100 years. Um, and I liked the way that the characters who were suffering, I mean, there were 2 of them, but the main guy, I liked the way that his body changed.
Yep.
It was like horrifying the way that his cranium kind of extended to make room for his brain, I guess, which had to store more experiences, and it was like all veiny and really creepy and disgusting. It really made me fear that that kind of thing might happen in real life. I don't think it's going to happen to me tonight when I go to sleep, but
It hap-
I think
it's gonna
his
be
appearance.
It's happened slowly.
Yeah, because at first for him it was just a year, and then it started increasing. But I think the way that he was portrayed physically matched with what he was experiencing in his dreams. So I
Alright.
guess that's one of the
Yep.
main reasons I like that episode.
You know that on that particular chapters,
Yeah.
I read the manga version, and they miss they passed some of the panels, the original panels about his original dream. So he describes some of his dream, and I think it would make much more impact if
Yeah.
the anime include them.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to know what he was dreaming about. He just said he was having like these terrible dreams.
All right, so
But
he
I wanted to know what they were.
yeah, so he was having a dream about he's as a soldier wandering in the forest for 10 years.
Hmm.
Or before that, he was study endless nights for 9 years for an exam.
Okay. Oh,
Bef-
that sounds awful.
yeah, and before that, he looking for the toilet that doesn't exist for 8 years.
Oh, so he has to pee for like 8 years.
Yep,
Wow, that's interesting.
that
That actually
interesting.
would be terrible.
That's
I
yeah, that's
did get the sense that he was dreaming about one thing in particular when he because there's the other woman who has some terminal disease,
uh-huh.
and he thinks that she's his wife. So
Oh
that
yeah,
must have
yeah.
been one of his dreams too.
Yeah, that was one of his dream. I think for 7 years. So, yep.
Huh.
That was
Those
another dream that she was his wife and they lived together like happily for 7 years.
I
So that
like I
yep.
like how simple those dreams are that you just described. Like you could boil them all down to being lost in the forest for X years, having to go to the toilet for
No, no,
8 years.
so he had to look for the toilet. That's what he said. He had to look for the toilet for 8 years. That the toilet doesn't exist.
Right, but that's the thing. I think that
Well,
you would have to infer, right, that he probably had the sensation of needing to go to the bathroom for that entire time.
all right.
And that's what would make it like truly horrifying. He can't relieve himself.
All
Maybe
right.
in the structure of the dream. I don't know.
So the issue that I have with that particular stories is how they try to plan together that his dreams into the girl. So later
Right.
when the doctor tried to get the things
The
implant into
crystals?
the crystal implant into
Yeah.
her body, I think that just doesn't make sense. That just mean spirit for me.
Did you say mean-spirited?
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I feel.
Yeah, it definitely came out of left field in terms of, its presentation as a work of fiction. But I think it's interesting that he would try to assuage her fear of death by making it so that she never really dies in the way that she's afraid of. I think if we knew more about the doctor and we knew more about her, and the episode were a little longer, maybe if it weren't two halves of an episode telling two stories, but the full 20-something minutes being dedicated to one story, we would be able to like better understand or better relate to characters when they do stuff like that.
All right.
I really do think that it would be cool if it was just one story per episode.
Well,
But obviously they want to get more stories in from the collection.
I prefer this format because I
Yeah.
think some of the story that work with me is like the short stories. Do you remember the short story at the first episodes?
Yes, the one where the girl turns into the doll.
Yeah, I think that's one of his more effective stories so far that we see.
Even in the anime version?
Even I mean anime version strictly. So the three episodes that we've seen so far, I think that was one of the most solid stories.
Huh. That didn't leave any impact on me at all.
All right.
Because the parents are like they're mourning the slow transformation of their daughter into a doll.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean you do see her because they refuse to put her to rest right away. So you do see her degrade a little bit.
Yep.
But I didn't care about like them or their daughter because I had only known them for what, like 120 seconds?
That's right. 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's the only chance I had to get to know them. So I didn't really. I mean, it was the final shot with her head kind of looking like a snake skin.
Mm-hmm.
That I will very clearly remember. I think for a while. But I mean, maybe that's all there is to that story in the manga, and so they wouldn't need a full episode.
Yeah.
Did-
So I think that's the issue with the Junji Itou collection so far. It's like they never focus on the characters, so we never feel the characters as the real person, so we never get behind them.
Yeah, but I mean, it is an anthology, so they have to work with the time that they've got.
Well, yeah.
I think that might be a shortcoming of the format
Yep.
and the show as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, but the guy from the first episodes, he's appear more of the short story, so I expect him to appear more in the anime version as well.
Yeah, they did seem to be kind of using him as a mascot for the series, or
Yep.
as like a kind of a protagonist. Not
Yep.
really, not in the traditional sense, but I did expect him, based on how much he showed up in the opening theme, to
Yep.
show up again. So
So-
you've read the manga and you know that he's gonna come back?
So I just read some chapter of the manga. I just read like 4 or 5 more chapters. Yeah, but I know he will come back.
Okay. All right, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I mean, he's kind of a funny character.
Groupie. Well,
Yeah, he's creepy for sure, but his total narcissism and his belief that the world revolves around him and that girls love him and that you know that other he perceives that other people hate each other. That's really just his own like mental sickness, I guess.
Yep.
I think that's interesting to watch that happen.
Hmm. And I think the main theme of the series so far, of the stories or the story that we have so far, are obsessions and suffering. So I particularly think the obsession part is like one of the story, like best part.
Though, what's one of the best parts?
Obsessions.
Oh yes,
So remember the story about the monster girl, the
the slug girl.
no, the girl who end up eating everyone in the crew
Oh
thing.
yes, the fashion model.
The
Or whatever.
fashion model.
Yeah,
So
she's
that's
obsessed with
the guy.
yeah, the one guy in particular. But also, I think in general, the idea is that she's supposed to represent like people's need to be beautiful or to be seen as beautiful.
But it was one of the dumbest story that I have ever seen.
It was one of the what stories?
The dumbest. It's just too stupid.
Okay, the dumbest.
Yeah.
Um,
How do you
the-
think
one
about how do you think
one of
about
the-
that story?
One of the issues that I have with the show as a whole, but also with that story in particular, are the visuals. This is just like bargain bin tier animation. Like all the scenes where she was chasing people through the forest, it was the same few frames of people's arms moving back and forth, and of course you can't see their legs because animating running cycles is really hard, and if you do it well, it probably takes like a million years. And then it would cut from people running to her, like just a shot of her face on the right hand side of the frame, with
Mhm.
speed lines going by and the background changing. Like I didn't feel really scared at all when I was looking at her, unless it was like a still shot
Hmm.
and she's got those fangs out and like there's blood all over her face. I didn't like Fashion Model that much. For me, it is more about the ideas and the concepts that are being presented, whether those are scary.
Yep. So we have one more thing to talk about the shows, is how I think the general people complain about how like how the anime version doesn't adapt it too successfully. So
I
they
have no frame of reference there, so you're gonna have to speak
Yeah.
to that.
So I'm the one who read some of the manga. So I think
Right.
faithfully, yes, they do. Is that successfully? Well, it depends. I like what I see so far. I like the presentation. I don't mind the lack of animated things.
Right.
I think it work.
I was falling asleep as I watched
Really?
these episodes.
All right.
Yeah, and that's not. There are things that I like about it. I do like a lot of the stories, in terms of their most basic elements, and
Mhm.
I like the art design, like the character designs, the thick outlines
Yep.
that they use to draw them and the way that they're shaded. It looks a little more 90s,
Hmm.
which I'm guessing is a product of Junji Itou's actual work. They're trying to make it look like the manga.
Yep.
Um, so there are things that I like about it, and I'm not opposed to watching more. But I also am not totally entertained by it.
Alright.
I wouldn't say that I'm like looking forward to it.
Well, for horror, it's definitely not a horror. That's from it doesn't scare me at all. But
I was a little scared by
what story? By which stories?
I mean, I guess Fashion Model, like I said, the particular close-ups of like her face
Yep.
were kind of haunting. Also, the last shot of the doll funeral episode, it was called Hellish Doll Funeral.
Hmm.
And I was grossed out by Slug Girl.
Well, I think it's meant to be gross out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but it was successful for me
Yeah.
at least.
It doesn't make
But
sense though. Like
no, of course it doesn't make sense.
many
It's a
many of his ideas doesn't make any sense when you
yeah,
think
no,
about it.
they're not meant to. They're just meant to shock you or horrify you, whatever. Anything else to say about this show?
Nah, so the bottom line is if you're watching this show for horror elements, it doesn't work. If you're watching it for like goofy, spooky time, yep, you have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun watching it.
A goofy, spooky time.
Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty accurate. There are a lot of goofy moments. All right, we've hit the 30-minute mark, so let's do a different show.
All right. So Violet Evergarden or After the Rain.
Okay.
Which one do you choose?
Sure, let's do Violet Evergarden.
All right.
And save After the Rain for second to last.
All right.
Violet Evergarden. This is a series that you're blogging.
Yep.
So why don't you start?
The last two are the series that I'm blogging. So
The last two? Oh yes, you're doing After the Rain as well. Oh man, that must be a real treat.
That's right.
That show's so good.
Yep.
All right, so
that's right.
We're talking about a less good show now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
All right.
think about
So I'm start first. All right.
it? Sure.
I'm not really sure on the whole concept of Violet Evergarden. I think the actual productions was top notch. It's have like it's have the very expressive animation, expressive like characters, expressions.
Yeah, nice background art.
Yeah, so the background art as well, the score. No, I don't like the score, but it's good for what it is. The story on the other hand isn't that good, so they follow the same like the same format of Violet will learn to become more emotional by
Right.
talking, by ghostwriting other pupils, and so far I don't feel any connection at all with Violet, the characters.
Neither do I. But I have felt connections with several other characters other than Violet.
All right, tell
But
me.
go on.
All right.
Have you felt anything for like any of the other characters,
Not much.
or just none of them at all? Okay, not much. All right,
Be-
fair enough.
No, because all these characters appears in like one episode, so we don't have much time to learn more about them. For
Yeah.
what they appear in that particular episode, it was very solid. I like it, but I don't think they gonna be more significant. So like Violet is the main person here. It is the main protagonist, and she just doesn't do anything at all. It's just like robot.
Yes,
See-
she is very robotic.
See, the only trait of of emotion that she have will be related to Major Chubert, I think.
Yeah.
I will refer him what his name. He just he's the character that just appear to like to trigger her emotions. So I don't feel him as a person at all, and the way
No,
that
he's dead. I mean, we only see him in
He's-
flashbacks.
his dad as well, and the way that the show tried to repeatedly have Violet like asking about him, it's just way too frustrating for me.
Yeah, I actually really agree with you there. And I think that the show should reveal, and in fact, I think it like kind of missed its chance. I think it should have very quickly revealed to Violet that he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like by episode 2, I think that should have happened, because this may cause her to kind of go through an existential phase and wonder why she should live, and then she could find purpose as an auto memory doll.
Mm-hmm.
Like she would go through a period of thinking, well, if this isn't a mission from Major Gilbert, why am I doing it? And then she could meet people who over time would express their emotions to her, and she would realize, oh, I should live like these people live. I should just live from day to day for the things that the things that enter my life and that I love.
Yeah.
So I think it's a mistake on the show's part not to deliver that bit of news right away.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the show so far?
I actually like it. I do not love it. I don't think it's a great show, but I think it is good.
Mm-hmm.
The visuals are good, of course. I actually have a small gripe with them, though, and it's the show's use of filters to make scenes set at night, like, very
Dark.
kind of dark and grainy, and almost like it's not intending for it to look like there's smog everywhere, but it kind of does.
Yeah, well, when I took a screenshot for those, I actually can't see anything because it's too dark.
Yeah, it really is too dark. And have you seen online any of the comparisons between the drawings, the frames as they exist before the filters and after?
I haven't. It
is night and day.
Oh God.
I'll send you one. Cause
Please.
It's like I don't know why. I guess they're going for like kind of a cinematic feel. That's why they're doing all this stuff in After Effects or whatever software they're using. But to me it's really distracting.
Wow, that's sad to hear.
I think it is a pretty looking show though. Overall.
Overall, yep.
Yeah, KyoAni that's their thing. They have multiple things, of course, but good-looking TV productions is one of their big things.
That's right.
So yeah, visually pretty darn good. I'm okay. I think when it comes to anime, I'm more okay than most people with the idea that kind of like an episode of the week, character of the week, monster of the week format. I'm okay with that. I don't believe that like really complicated stories that are serialized and like you need to see everything in the proper order and remember everything. I don't think that's necessarily a superior way of going about things. So I am okay with her meeting like one character per episode, and I really like the redheaded girl from episode 3.
Luch, what her name? Luculia.
I wrote it.
Luculia.
Yeah, it's something like that. I wrote it down. Where is it? It's Luculia, I guess.
Well, I think. Well, right.
She was. I didn't get really emotional watching or listening to her story at all until Violet wrote the letter for her brother, and he read it. That was when the show got me, because Violet's like lack of emotional range was reflected in how short the letter was, but she also really understood what Luculia was trying to say. So I think there was a good blend there between Violet's still undeveloped feelings and like empathetic capacity, but also she's like starting to get it. The brevity of the letter is what really made it emotional for me. And I mean, that was the big standout moment from episode 3 for me.
How you feel about the other members? So the staff members, for example.
Yes. What is the name of their company? I don't remember.
I
mean, it's an auto memory doll company, but I don't remember what it's called.
I don't remember what it's called either.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's anime. A lot of times people will refer to characters by their attributes, or places or buildings or whatever. Because they're Japanese names. I'm like totally ignorant over here. I don't know what any of those mean. How do I feel about the other characters? I'm kind of interested, like a tiny bit, in the relationship between Catalia, who's the gypsy-looking woman, and the blonde post boy. I want to, like, what is their deal? Why are they fighting? Is it? I assume there's some kind of like romantic subplot that's going to be going on there eventually.
Well, for episode 2, I think there was a romantic tension between her and the boss.
Okay, I actually have something specific to ask you about that. Are you getting the show from HS?
Sorry?
Like from Horrible Subs? Are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
getting
yeah.
the show from Horrible
Yep.
Subs? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Apparently there was a mistranslation in
All
those
right.
subs,
Yep.
and the fan subs were supposed to be more accurate.
Uh-huh.
So the scene that you're talking about, where she was like flirting with Claudia or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
apparently the Horrible Subs version made it seem like they had already slept together. But in the
It
version that I watched, go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
No. So it did hint about that. Yes.
Right. In the version that I watched, she's merely saying like, if I were to sleep with someone whose name was Claudia, I wouldn't be able to call out that name because it's like a girl's name. But she wasn't saying that she had done it already.
All right. Well,
according to my subs anyway.
I think
Um,
your sub is more accurate.
yeah, I read a huge Reddit thread about it. So apparently, like Crunchyroll botched it, and so because Horrible Subs rips everything from CR, it was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Anyways, yeah,
Right.
but she does. It's true that she does get like really close and flirty with Claudia, but you know she only does it because she sees the post boy in the background.
Oh, he's
Remember, she sees him like peeking from behind a
yeah, yeah.
banister or something.
Right.
Column.
Yep. Wow. Right.
I don't know. Like I'm not that interested in most of the characters who work there. Um, but I am kind of curious about like what Catalia's deal is because she's so in demand as an auto memory doll.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see an episode that's like about her.
Right. I think in the future there will be an episode about her,
Yeah.
judging from the format that they're gonna use.
Yeah, exactly. The kind of character of the week format.
Yeah. I actually don't mind that character of the week within Violet Evergardens, be, as long as they move away from Violet, the focus.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to watch it. I'll be happy to like think that the series gonna be better.
Yeah, I agree that because Violet's personality is the way it is, like she's very stiff and all that, that it's the other characters who are going to need to carry the show.
That's right. And one thing that I learned from watching the shows, um, the way that KyoAni adapted the anime is not it, so that they didn't adapt the first book of the series. So
Oh, is it a
basically,
series?
oh sorry, so they're light novels, so there are like some several novels, and they adapted from I think the book 3 or 4 of the novels.
Okay.
So the novel itself starts from when Violet is already an established auto memories members.
Huh.
Yeah.
So for the first, are you saying for like the first two novels,
She
she's
al-
not an established author?
she is, so for the first 2 novels she is an established ghostwriter, and then
Oh, and
for
novel 3 is like a flashback?
and now and I think from what I heard is like they mentions about her flashback in the novel 3 or 4, so they just
So
keep
KyoAni is a sorry.
yeah, so they just keep mentioning about their flashback, about her flashback, about like how they see her, like in different light,
Okay.
and then
So does that
KyoAni
mean
just
that
yeah, so
right.
KyoAni just adapted, like from the beginning.
Right. They want to tell like a sequential story. They want to elaborate on those flashbacks, I guess, or those little bits of dialogue about what she used to be like.
Yep. So what we have was I think the first episode was the anime original, and the third one, this one that we watched this week, was the
Right.
anime original as well.
Oh, okay. I That's interesting. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew it was based on a light novel because they run that contest every year
Yep.
to see if any of the light novels that are submitted are going to be adapted. And this year, Violet Evergarden finally won, or
No,
last
no,
year, or whatever.
no. It's like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Oh, it won the contest that long ago?
Yeah, that long ago. I'm not pretty sure, but I think I'm pretty sure it's not for the last 2-3 years.
Okay. But I mean, KyoAni they've done good work adapting light novels and really like breaking away from the written story and doing their own thing. Like K-On! I don't really have any great love for that show. I haven't finished it or anything. I couldn't get through it. But from what I understand, they completely broke away from the source material, and they made a show that a lot of people really love as a result. So I think that decision can be okay. It just depends on their execution.
That's right. And so far, I'm not really fond of the executions of the story wise. I like the way they frame it visually wide. You remember there was one of the scenes where Luculia came to her room, and there was her brother already sleeping, and you see
he had already eaten.
Yeah, he already eaten, and you see the shot from above.
Yes, that's right.
You see like they just failed to connect to each other just by that shot alone. So I think that visually it was very great. It was great visual storytelling.
Do you know who's directing Violet Evergarden? Who the general director is?
Well, I have no idea. I think
Okay.
that's
Me neither.
I think that was the female who directed some of the show before.
Okay. Are the same woman who directed Koe no Katachi and
Tamako
shoot.
Market, I think.
Yeah, Tamako Love Story as well. Which
Love Story,
I
yep.
thought was. I didn't see Tamako Market. I don't plan to watch it, but I did watch the movie because a lot of people said it was really good, and it was pretty darn good.
Right.
I'm gonna double check. So before we move on to After the Rain, I want to check and see who the director is for sure, so we're not spreading any misinformation.
Sure.
Director. The director is actually, I don't think it is the woman we were talking about. Apparently, it's someone named Ishidate Taichi. So he has directed in the past. I'm looking. He directed Kyokai no Kanata.
Alright.
And Violet Evergarden. Those are the only two series where I see him as the primary director. I see him working on a lot of other KyoAni stuff, as an episode director, as a storyboard artist, etc. But it looks to me, although I could be totally wrong, I could have missed one as I scrolled, that this is his second work as the general director with KyoAni.
Alright. I got to read more
Okay,
about that, so let's move on to...
Yeah, let's do it. After the Rain. This is the best show of the season.
So far, yes.
I mean, I'd be shocked if anything, dethroned it.
Well, it's
Stole its title.
Well, it's depend on the show itself, how they handle the romance, because
Yeah, when I was talking to Lenlo yesterday, he was expressing worry, that they were going to go too fast with it, or that it was going to be like too inappropriate, or that the guy was going to be too willing.
Well,
the Tencho, the manager.
Yeah.
But honestly, the way I feel about it, I want the show to go, just go for it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if that sounds gross.
Did he watch the third one though?
No, he hasn't seen the third one yet, and I was like, oh man, you're gonna
love it.
You're gonna appreciate it. Yeah.
All right. So
I like everything about this show. I have no gripes, no complaints at all.
All right. So tell me more about it. Tell me more about it.
Okay. Visually, it's great. I was afraid that Studio Wit was not going to give it their full effort because they also have Mahotsukai running in the same season. But it looks way better than Mage's Bride ever has, honestly, in my opinion. No, I mean Mage's Bride has terrific backgrounds, but this show just has amazing everything. It's I really love the main character. I really love every character except for the woman with the huge lips who works as a waitress. The thing that, and it's not that I don't like her, because I can understand a middle-aged character being, kind of coarse and like bitter, that they have to work this job in order to provide for their family, because it's not the most gratifying job. I just wish that her design was a little less frumpy.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I don't know why, but I think like this shows and Welcome to the Ballrooms have
Yeah.
have very awkward designs. By that I mean
Oh, the
like
necks.
by that I mean like the main characters are have very nice designs, but those side characters had the design that like way too off. They just doesn't fit the soul.
Huh. So you think that about After the Rain as well?
After the rain and Welcome to the Ballroom.
Right. I mean, I like all the characters, their design and the way they look in After the Rain. What about them doesn't fit the show? Like,
No,
I think.
the side
Sorry, go ahead.
characters, the side characters like the middle-aged woman that you said. I don't think her design fit the soul.
Yeah,
That
I don't either, because the show's it has a shoujo aesthetic to it a little bit, with the big eyes and the eyelashes and the sparkly stuff. But I mean, I understand that the idea is that they're making this woman out to be, kind of like plain and unattractive and stuff. I just wish it didn't do that. Like, I just wish it made her look kind of average and normal.
more normal, yeah.
Yeah, and less like something out of Junji Ito. Because right now, honestly, she looks pretty gross. Like, she looks kind of scary. I like everybody else though.
hmm How about the romance?
Dude, I love it so much. Okay, let's talk about one specific element of, like, the show establishes really quickly that she's super into
The guy.
the manager.
Yep.
And it all started when he just gives her a cup of coffee because he noticed her staring out the window, kind of like, she's sad. So he wants to
Yep.
cheer her up. And it's based on that alone, it seems, that she starts to develop this obsession with him. And when I watched the show with my brother, he said that's totally, like, that doesn't make any sense, and I
It-
don't want to see that. But I think that that's how a lot of romances start. Not with that specific scenario, but I think people are drawn to each other and are attracted to each other on, like, for no real deep reason.
Well,
And
I think.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, you go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I'll just wrap up real fast. I think that because she, like, busted her Achilles tendon or whatever, she's got those stitches.
hmm
As a result of that, she was feeling lonely. She was feeling isolated from her friends on the track team.
hmm
And him doing that one small, like, sharing a little bit of kindness with her, because of the emotional place that she was in, that was enough for her to get really attached to him.
hmm
So I totally buy it.
Yep. Well, I think like two people get attracted to each other. Like no, one people get attracted to the others by the spark that they receive. So certainly the girl Tachibana had that spark with him
Yeah.
on that particular moment. So that I totally saw, I totally saw, and I agree with you that it's made from her frustration of her injury that she
Yes.
tried to pursue on the romance. Like we see on the third episode, like right after she feel sad about like coming to the to the
The
running
practice.
the practice, and
Yes.
she went straight to the guys and confess to him again.
Yeah. I totally believe, like, that just rings so true to me. And I also really appreciate it because, how many romantic anime are there where that just never, like, the confession comes in the last episode or not at all.
Yeah.
And this one
And-
is bucking that trend, which is good.
Well, and she tried pushing too hard. I mean, way too hard. But the
You mean
guy,
that scene under the tree?
well, before that, like like she try she keep trying to ask for his like his answers.
Yes.
She in the car she like she confessed again. She shouted, you know.
Yeah.
So that was trying too hard. But I think the way that Kondo the manager guy handled those things are pretty spot on.
Yeah, it really seemed like he was a 45-year-old guy who was trying to let her down easy and
Well,
letting her know like this isn't appropriate.
yeah.
But
Except for like going on a date things. But
yes, I mean, yeah, that did bug me a little bit. Like it was clearly a device. Like,
yeah,
oh, but
it
you
was
said it. But it's true that they have to get the romance going somehow. So I can forgive
yeah.
them for that little bit.
That yeah, that's right. And I one more thing that I like it about the last episodes in particular is how the show frame the situation within Kondo's perspective. So we see like the way that like he think, the way that he feels. Like I
Right.
one of the scene that I like it the most is when he see Tachibana looking at the cockroach, and and he feel young, and we visually see him young,
Right.
like
Yeah.
17 years old. I think that's a great touch from the shows.
Yeah. That definitely worked for me too.
Uh,
I I'm I like every dude. I just love this show so much.
that's that's right, and the way that he tried to drink the coffee out of like try to break the silence, and then he just realized that's the coffee can was the one that he
Then he
used
put his
for.
ashes in.
Yeah. That was so nice. That was so nice.
Yeah, it definitely mirrors his frustration at the whole romantic situation.
That's right. And
It like he literally tastes something bitter. He tastes the ashes
yeah,
as he's having to work through this difficult situation.
and the way that like he tried to like explain to her that it's not right to be
Yeah.
together, and
Not only. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
not so it's not only because of the age difference, but because he think of himself as a nothing boy.
Exactly.
It it was so honest that I totally feel
Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense that he would eventually. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read the manga, and I don't want to. I just want to experience the show as it is.
Mhm.
But I kind of get the feeling that he will eventually, start falling for her too. And it's because they both feel empty. Like her feeling of emptiness may just be temporary because of her injury.
Mhm.
Um, so I hope that I hope that well, it might be realistic if the show were to have her like kind of pull away a little bit as she heals.
Mhm.
I don't want to see that happen, but I do really appreciate the fact that he probably will eventually start to become interested in her, and it's because they both feel like a sense of loneliness.
Mhm.
So that kind of legitimizes whatever thing develops between them for me.
And the ways he remark about like how his little remark mean affect somebody else.
Yeah, that was really great.
That was really great. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, we're coming up on an hour. That doesn't mean we can't talk about it for longer, but there's
Mhm.
one thing I want to ask you in particular about episode 2. You
Yep.
remember the scene where she was lying on her bed and thinking about him?
Yep.
Did you catch the implication in that scene of like what was going on?
Well, I didn't catch it until one of the commenters pointed out to me.
Okay. That
So-
I was actually very impressed that the show would go there. I mean, it did it very subtly.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think it's necessary as well. Maybe not that particular expression of
Mhm.
the emotion she was feeling, but the physical attraction does need to be there.
That's
And based
right.
on that scene, it obviously is.
Well, so I didn't catch it until I told you like one of the commenter pointed out to me. So
Right.
I read the manga to that point,
Okay.
and what I found is the manga is more direct,
Okay.
less subtle.
Right. Maybe they can afford to do that because they're still images rather than
Yeah.
you know
Yep.
the video.
But right, I agree that the anime versions do it right.
Yeah. I thought it was a daring choice, and I was okay with it. You know,
Yep.
it was necessary. At least it was necessary for us to learn that she really is attracted to him on a more primal level, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So as you did point out the silliness of you said we were going on a date. Oh, I guess we have to go on a date. That, I guess, is like the one small little problem I have with the show so far, but everything else is like I'm blown away.
That exactly my feeling as well.
And my favorite anime of last year was also a romance. Maybe I just really love romance anime at this point.
Well, yes. Oh, you know what?
What?
On our top tens, like the whole top 10, the big one. I just realized that there was 4 of the shows that only voted by us that make it into the top 10.
I thought it was 3.
That was
It's
4.
Eccentric Family,
Yep.
Tsukigakire,
Yep.
I'm
Sangatsu
blanking.
no Leon.
Yeah, right. And what's
Match
the other
com-
one?
and the other one was Girls Last Tour.
I think someone else put that, didn't they?
Did they?
Am I wrong?
Because I don't recall anyone watching it, but Aiden, and he watched it like later, like real late.
Right,
So
right.
I
Because
thi-
he's doing the blurb for it.
Yeah, so it just was just the 2 of us.
Okay, so wait, what were the 4 shows again? It was Eccentric Family 2, Tsukigakire.
Yep. Yep.
I'm already blanking.
Match come inside like a lion.
Yes, right. And Girls Last Tour.
Yeah, and Girls Last Tour.
Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, it's.
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad. I'm especially glad that happened without us coordinating it. Because we were kind of outnumbered in terms of like people who prefer.
so
Well, I don't know. Like the other 3 writers are, I think, more action oriented.
well, I just think that we just divided into 2 teams, you know,
Yeah.
team super and team
Yeah.
action.
I'm glad that we were able to get 4 shows on there. Good job, team.
Yeah, that's right. Not bad. Huh?
All right. Yeah, not bad at all.
All right.
And they were all good shows. Do you want to do Ergo Proxy?
Yeah. All right. Let's do it.
Okay. So a little background on my history with this show.
Mhm.
I tried watching it. I mean, I guess anyone listening to this won't understand what I'm talking about when I say tournaments, but I tried
Mhm.
watching this as part of a 2006 tournament.
Mhm.
And I was just trying out a bunch of shows from that year because I think this is '06.
Mhm.
And it didn't get very far. Like I got through 4 episodes and that was it.
How many you say? 4.
4. I think it's 4. It may have been 5.
Yep.
But the first 2 I think are pretty strong.
Really? All right.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good actually. I mean, I'm also like consciously trying to give the show more of a chance and trying to be more fair because I have seen it once before and it failed to engage me.
Yep.
But I think
Alright.
the first 2 episodes are pretty good. How'd you
Al-
feel about them?
All right. I watched the first 2 and I like it a lot. That I went on and watched another
you
2.
did?
Yeah. So I watched 4 of them, the first 4
Okay.
episodes, and okay. If we talk about the first 2 only, there's
Yeah,
not.
let's try to as much as we can.
All right. So there's not much to talk about plot wise, because
Oh,
like everything just for me it's just like the setup of the big pictures.
Well, I mean, it's easy to feel that way having seen more.
Well, even when I finish the first 2, I don't know plot wise that what should I talk about. Well, so you try to tell me what What the
Okay.
fuck choose?
All right. I like. I'll take that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? So obviously we probably got this show, from somewhere. It's not like it's currently airing and there are subtitles that everyone would be watching.
Yep.
So my subs did not translate the opening poem.
Oh,
And
right.
I think Latin.
Uh-huh.
Did you look up what that meant?
No, I didn't look up. But
Okay, I did.
I think my was translations were
Oh,
translated.
okay. So the one I had to Google, it's I won't recite the whole poem even though it's only 4 lines. But
Yep.
the idea behind it, I think, was that it's better to sleep, and sleep metaphorically, like to be ignorant of wrongdoing and crime than it is to be like a participant in that society.
All right. Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that society is totally corrupted and everyone's just in it for themselves, and there's criminal behavior everywhere, and it's better to just disentangle yourself from it completely.
Yep.
Which I think makes sense based on what I know about the future of the show, even though I've only seen 2 or 3 episodes past what I saw, because they eventually do go. Have you gotten to the point where they get away from the main city?
Yes, but it's not from the first 2 episodes. So we're talking strictly about the
it's
first
later.
2 episodes, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right.
But I just that poem in particular makes sense to me, like when you consider what comes later. But the poem
Yeah,
does
that's
come in
right.
the first 2 episodes. All right, here's something specific from the first episode.
Yep.
Do you remember after, like, in the opening, one of the opening scenes? There's a few of them, but one of the opening scenes has that red-haired guy sitting in like a stairwell. This is before he turns into one of the proxies.
Oh, I don't recall it though. All right.
Okay, you
Tell me more,
should
man.
definitely go back and watch the first 5 minutes of the first episode, because the same necklace that is around Vincent's neck is shown in those first 5 minutes when you see the red-haired character. I don't know. It, like, the necklace is just flashed across the scene. You don't see him actually wearing it,
Yep.
but it's there. So there's some link, not just like there's some link between that necklace and the red-haired character who transforms, I think, into one of the proxies.
It started to make sense to me now, actually.
Does that make like some pieces fall into place regarding what happens later in the show, like what you've seen?
Yeah, that's right. Because the main female characters, what's her name, Liu? She
It's
have that
Riru.
necklace. Yeah. Sorry.
It's like, I guess if I were to say it with an English accent, it would be real.
Grill.
But in Japanese, it's riru, because they put the vowel sound after the L.
So
rel and re-L.
So I will call her as Rio.
Okay. I think that's her name. I think that's how you would say it if you were speaking in English.
All right.
Rio.
Rio.
Yeah.
So Rio later she has that necklace, and she
At the end of
pointed-
episode 2, she picks it up. Yeah. At her old apartment or whatever.
Yes. All right. Yep. I couldn't
then-
say more.
I mean, when she finds it at the end of episode 2, you're kind of meant to think that Vincent really did have something to do with what happened at her apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't remember perfectly what actually happens, but I think that's just misdirection.
Yeah. So
I think the necklace being there is because the proxy guy with the red hair, who later turns into, he's got those big white flowing things coming out of his head.
Yep.
I think he had the same necklace.
All right. So so what happened in her room? So she got attacked by a proxies, and then another proxies come and rescue her.
Right.
Was
So the
that
first
what
one,
happened?
the first one that attacked her was the red-haired one, who you see in the
Yep.
first 5. Who you see, like the very first scene is the one in that laboratory with Dr. Daedalus watching.
And was that the one who pursues Vincent later?
Yes, that was the one with white hair.
All right. Yep.
But the a few scenes after that, before like the title screen comes up, so around like the 3 or 4 minute mark, you see the red-haired, still human character. He's got glowing eyes, and he's that's when you see that necklace.
Yep.
He's the one who turns into the proxy with the red hair with the white like flowing stuff coming out of it. So that's the proxy who attacks her first, and then like you said, the one that later attacks Vincent in the mall. That's the one who comes in second.
All right.
And more about the necklace specifically, I guess. In the very first episode, when Riel goes to visit Vincent at his work, she tells him that he should get rid of the necklace because it smells like Mosk. M-O-S-K.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't remember what Mosk is exactly, but I mean, based on Vincent's status as an immigrant, like he's not a, what do they call it? He's not a fellow citizen.
Yeah. He's the immigration, I think. That's what they say.
Yeah, he's an immigrant. So I'm guessing that Mosk, what that means is it's like a place where immigrants live. So it's like a lower class.
Well, I for me, I will take it as, spiritually. It is the... I still take it like spiritually. So it's still... I think that the place that, like our mask.
But it wasn't spelled like M-O-S-Q-U-E. It was M-O-S-K.
Oh,
that doesn't mean that it can't have a spiritual significance, because they do sound the same.
Yeah.
But it wasn't spelled the same.
I think spiritually is spirituality, or it's like one of the theme of the show as well, because you remember one of the robots praying when
that's right.
Proxies come in.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well,
that's I think prayer is meant in this show is meant to represent the presence of a soul, and that the proxy is somehow like giving, the virus that's infecting the auto rays and stuff is called the cogito virus, which in Latin means think, like cognition, like cognitive, I think. So that's why they named the virus that, because the proxies are somehow giving the robots the ability to think autonomously without human control, I guess. So the praying, I guess, represents the idea that they have a soul or a will of their own. And it's really cool, just the image of the robot, like as all this destruction is happening around them. The image of them on their knees with their hands folded, looking up, is very memorable imagery.
That's right.
I think the show looks cool in general. I think it is, it's the kind of show that can stick in your head.
Yeah, that's right. It's piqued my interest for sure for the first 2 episodes, and I really wanted to watch more. But I think for the purpose of our podcast, I will, try not to watch it more in advance.
Okay. I mean, if you really want to see more, if you're like compelled to watch more, you should do it.
Well,
because the podcast is just something we're doing for fun, right? And you can still go back and talk about specific episodes. Like after you watch a whole bunch of episodes, just go on Wikipedia, look at the two summaries of the episodes we're supposed to be talking about, and just try to limit it to that.
Well, so it's pretty hard to talk about those episodes without spoilers,
Yeah, probably.
But
we
will see.
We'll see. Yeah. If you do decide to watch more, I won't blame you at all. Like if there's a show that you really like,
I'm game for
do
more.
Whatever.
And
what else is there that we can talk about from the first 2 episodes?
Well, did you realize the Radiohead song as the
yes, of course,
ending? Wow.
Yeah, I love Radiohead.
All right.
How about
You're one of the. I think you are the first guy who told me that you like Radiohead, because like many people that I encounter, they said like they don't understand Radiohead. they know they are good, but they don't really like get into the music.
Yeah, well, it's not the easiest music to get into, I guess. I mean, compared to top 40 or anything
Yeah.
really mainstream and accessible.
Hmm.
But the thing is, Radiohead they've been around for so long, and at this point, their influence has spread so far, and they've sold so many records
That's
that
right.
you could consider their brand of music, like their brand of alt rock, to be pretty mainstream. So I'm kind of surprised by the fact that no one that I'm the first person who's ever said that.
they, I heard a lot of people say they hate Radiohead.
That they I've heard people say they hate Radiohead too, and I don't. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Hating Radiohead, it just means you have bad taste.
All right. That's strong.
Yeah, that's obviously wrong. There's no good or bad taste when it comes to music. People can listen to whatever they want, but
Well,
I want to listen to Radiohead.
Radiohead, for me, they just like it take really long time to get into their music, so it take really long time for me to really appreciate their song, for their song getting into me. But
Right.
when they do, I just like I just completely like feel it.
Yeah, me too.
So
Sure.
there are plenty of songs that I like I I really love about them. But
Yeah, me too.
as a whole, they really kind of hard to get into.
I think I agree with that. I had a very interesting experience listening to Radiohead for the first time that made me immediately love them. But that would take a while. That story would take a while.
Mhm.
Uh, so in the first two, have you seen the OP at this point?
I have seen the OP.
I don't think it was in the first two episodes, was it?
No, they have
Okay.
yep.
Oh man, I really love that song. I
It's another
actually have it.
It's another
It's another
English
what?
song, and I have to
Yeah.
look it up.
But it is by a Japanese band.
Yeah, it's apparently by the Japanese band. Well,
It's Monorail.
all right.
And I'm not a fan of theirs or anything, but the very first time I heard that song, the first time I tried to watch Radiohead, this was several years ago probably, or the first time I tried to watch Ergo Proxy, excuse me,
Hmm.
several years ago. When I heard that song, I immediately fell in love with it.
Hmm.
It sounds like, you know who it reminds me of? It reminds me of Steve Conti, who did a lot of vocals for Cowboy Bebop and Wolf's Rain. If you ever listen to those shows and you hear an English speaker
Uh-huh.
singing with that sort of kind of gruff rock and roll classic sounding voice,
Yep.
it reminds me of that.
All right.
But the guys, even though it's a Japanese band, the frontman I think is maybe half Japanese, half
Well,
French or something. I don't know.
well, if you compare the show to Cowboy Bebop, it doesn't act far away, because I think that the same guy who made Cowboy Bebop making Samurai Champloo,
Yes,
and
that's right.
the same guy making Samurai Champloo making Ergo Proxies. Not really
the
the
same
same
studio.
the same studio, but I think there are some of the old stuff from the Samurai Champloo as well.
Yeah, if they're both made by Manglobe, which is the studio that did Champloo, then I imagine some of the same people were working on Ergo Proxy. But I don't think the shows are very both Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo are very adventurous. They're very fun. They
Mhm.
use a lot of bright colors, even in darker scenes. Whereas Ergo Proxy is just smeared with black. Black is
Yeah.
everywhere, and
Dark
when it's not black,
blue.
it gets really bright.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, it's supposed to be showing us a dystopia, so that makes sense.
All right. How do you think about Mangrove Studio as a whole?
Manglobe as a whole,
Yep.
honestly I don't know a lot about them. I know they did Champloo. I know that their final work I think was Gangsta.
Gangsta, yes.
I only got halfway through that.
All right. So they got Michiko,
What else did they do?
Michiko and Hachin.
Okay, I have tried multiple times to really get into that show. I've only ever made it halfway through. I don't think it lives up to the rest of those types of road adventure shows.
All right.
But
So
I respect the production for sure.
they got House of Five Leaves, which
Oh, that was Manglobe?
Yeah, which I know that
That
you
show was
watch.
great.
Yep.
Yeah, that show was great.
They have Samurai Flamenco,
Okay, I
which I think you recommend me about that show as well.
that show to me is the most unintentionally hilarious anime I've ever seen. It gets really bad, but I always wanted to keep watching just to see if it could top itself, and it did. It's not a good show, but I liked it for whatever reason. I just kept wanting to watch and seeing how silly it could get. What else did they do?
The world God only knows, which is
Okay,
not that good.
I have no interest in seeing that.
And what else? Dead Man Wonderland.
What?
Dead Man Wonderland.
Dead Man Wonderland.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen that either. It's like a shonen thing, right?
Yeah, that is shown in very graphically violence.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright.
I'm not really interested in that either, but I mean, it's interesting to hear that they did Michiko to Hachin because that's I mean, that show is obviously following in the footsteps of something like Champloo with the structure of the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they two characters on the road together. In Champloo it's three, but you know, they get into adventures and all that stuff.
Alright, let's go back to Ergo Proxy. Is there anything else that you
Right.
want to talk?
we went on a huge tangent.
Mm.
Well, I've been talking about a lot of stuff from the first two episodes that I noticed. Did anything else stand out to you? How about what did you think about the scenes where various characters? First, it was Raoul, the guy who's like heading up the security bureau or whatever, and then it was Real when they went to talk to the council and the regent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about with the statues?
Yeah.
What did you think about those scenes? How do you like the choice to portray the council members as like literal statues?
Well, I like that aspect.
Okay.
I have mixed feeling about the whole info dump, the whole thing that they just inside a meeting deciding everything. I don't like that aspect at all. I like the design. I don't like the actual implementation of that.
Okay. Do you think? I think that them showing up on screen as statues is supposed to be metaphorical.
Yep.
How about you? Do you think they're actually like carved statues, or do you think that it's like a creative choice?
That's just a great creative choice for me.
Okay. Yeah. I had the same thought. I think it's supposed to represent the fact that they're like kind of solid and like set in their ways and unwilling to change.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
obviously a statue can't do any of those things either. It's created in a certain way, and then from that point on, it just is what it is, and it doesn't evolve or grow.
And it tells you a lot about the theme of the show as well. So the show is more about philosophical ideas. So having those statues really like speak to that theme.
Yeah, in fact, the names of all four of those statues, because Real calls them by their names in episode 2.
Yep.
They're like, I wrote them down someplace. I can't find them now, but I looked up all four of those names, and they're all philosophers. They're real life philosophers.
See, it's how subtle of them.
Yeah.
I love the subtlety.
I don't know. Does that count as subtlety?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, good.
Well,
Yeah, the show isn't that subtle. Especially like where you know what it reminds me of? Psychopaths.
Oh, yeah, they do remind me of Psychopaths.
Because in Psychopaths, there are several characters who are just like constantly quoting works of philosophy and stuff like that.
And another show movies that remind me of.
What, Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah, Ghost in the Shells. Especially the second one, the sequel.
I am in the middle of watching the first season of Standalone Complex.
I haven't
have
watched
not
it.
seen the.
I haven't watched the standalone complex.
Oh, you're talking about Ghost in the Shell Innocence, right? The Mamoru Oshii.
Innocence, yeah,
film.
yeah, yeah. The movies, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've seen the first one. I have not seen the second.
You need to see the second one. The second one is more philosophical, so they just basically worked on the philosophy speeches, make that into the lies. It was
Okay.
it was really something. It was way too much.
I
but
mean, I there was a bit of philosophy in the first film too. I mean, the whole idea behind Ghost in the Shell, like
yeah,
the idea of what a human is. Can robots be human? Are you still the same person if your consciousness enters another body? That's all highly philosophical. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think Ergo Proxy is doing something similar because you have the auto raves.
mm-hmm.
Are they people? Are they because they have their own personalities, but they're also like in the second episode. It's clear that Iggy, who is Rael's auto
Mhm.
rave,
Yeah, yeah.
his like optical feed, what he sees is constantly being monitored,
Yep.
and he's like issues warnings to Rael, like don't go any further investigating this, or
Mhm.
in some cases his memory's wiped altogether.
Yep.
But does that mean that he's just a robot, or is he something more? It's
Yep.
the philosophy's there in Ergo Proxy as well, I think.
Well, I actually think that anime has a very good track with philosophical theme. So I enjoy the philosophy of God in the Shell, of other shows, of Lane, uh, Serial Experiments Lane. That was
Yeah,
a very good show.
I need to watch Experiments Lane. I'm in the middle of watching Technolize right now, which is by the same guy.
And Technolize. I haven't watched Technolize though.
I recommend Technolize for sure, but you have to be very patient while watching it.
Boy, you have
It
to
is
you have to watch Lane because it tests your patience. So
Yeah.
I know pretty sure that I have a very good I am patient to watch on those.
Yeah. I mean, I think you'll like Technolize if you like Lane. I haven't seen Lane, so the basis for that recommendation is not totally solid, but if they're both written by Chiaki J. Konada with character designs by Yoshitaka Abe. So it's the same like core group of creatives working
Mhm.
on both shows.
Yep.
But I definitely need to get around to watching Lane for sure. That'll happen at some point. Just not right now.
5 years.
No, I'm thinking it's more like within a year I'll have cleared enough stuff, like enough modern stuff that I want to see, and I'll be moving back into the 90s, like really hitting the 90s hard. I
Yep.
think by 2019 I'll have gotten there.
So how you going so far with your practice? 2001 and 2003, you say?
It's 2000 through 2003, and
Yep.
right now it's I've got it. I've made my way to in finals on the winner's side. It's Technolize and Hajime no Ippo, the
All right.
boxing show.
Yep.
So, and then in the loser side, it's Ghost in the Shell, and the winner of Haibane Renmei and Hanada Shonenshi.
All right.
So I've got 3 of the top 4 for sure.
So the Haibane Renmei was written by the same guys who write Technolize and Lint.
It actually isn't.
Is it?
It's written by Yoshitaka Abe, who did the character designs for all 3 shows.
Oh,
But the
right.
writer of Lane and Technolize, Chiaki J. Konada, didn't write Lane.
So it's the same director though, is it?
Yeah, same director, and yeah, you could be forgiven for assuming that they're written by the same person because it kind of has the same feel.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah. So I enjoy both Tex and Haibane a lot. So Lane is getting watched for sure at some point.
all right. I hope you enjoy it.
I hope I do too. But with shows like that where they're very like slow moving and kind of allegorical and very like dense, it's always a bit of a coin flip whether you're gonna like it or not.
Yeah,
But I hope I do.
it's the test your patience. It the
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
yeah.
Man,
Well-
we are really not talking a lot about Ergo Proxy right now.
Well, because I don't have a lot to talk about the first two
Yeah.
episode of Ergo Proxy, despite I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I did enjoy these first two episodes, but I'm fearful of what I'm going to see in episodes 3 and 4 because I know eventually they get away from the city, and that's where the show just totally lost me.
All right.
There was a lot of sitting around in that little wasteland wherever they were living, and a lot of talking. And I mean,
Well,
I'm fine with talking, but there was a lot of it.
yeah. So for me, after I finish the first four episodes, I still enjoy it.
Yeah,
So let's see
yeah, we'll see. How
how this.
many episodes should we plan to watch of Ergo Proxy? I mean, for obviously for the airing shows, we'll just watch one more of each probably.
Yep.
But for Ergo Proxy, I'd be willing to watch more than just two more. How many more do you want to do? Like four?
Four are good to me. So
Okay, so that would bring us up to episode 6.
hold on. So the next one, I reckon we do three, and then the next one three.
Okay. That works for me too.
Or I gonna watch them all anyway. So
Okay. Yeah,
I,
we can just do 3. Like if we try to cover 4 episodes worth of material, it might just take us way too long.
yep. All right.
All right, well that'll be the plan. So for the next episode, more winter 2018 discussion and a bit more Ergo Proxy. We'll do 3 instead of 2.
That's right.
All right. Any last words before we sign off?
No, I leave it to you.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything to say. So to anyone who somehow found this podcast, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya. I hit